Good morning and welcome back to my channel. As the title suggests, there's been a lot going on in my life, in my business life, over the past 2 months, and I've been unsure whether to do this video. I'll be honest as well, because I've had such a peaceful time since I've left my studio, and I have been enjoying the peace and actually talking about what actually happened to me. I've just not wanted to do it because I didn't want to get angry or feel upset, and I didn't want to go back there when I was feeling so good and happy and peaceful with my life. But I feel like the time is right, and I've got to get this out there. If I can try and prevent somebody else from having an awful experience the way that I had, I feel, if I can prevent just one person from going through what I went through, this video will be worth it. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name's Nicola Richardson. I own a jewellery brand called Pink Vintage Jewellery. I work from home, so I'm in my dining room at the minute if you're wondering where I am. I've been in business 9 years. I started on Etsy and then I sell through my website as well. And then in 2025, just at the beginning of last year, I opened up a permanent jewellery studio in the centre of York. And if you remember, you might go back and look at some of my old videos. You'll see me renovating my studio. It was a shared building. It was a shared space. It was, the lease was taken over by a social enterprise. This social enterprise is quite big in York, and they aim to give an outlet to creative businesses. So you have to be in the creative industry to be able to rent studio space from them. And when I was looking for some studio space or a pop-up availability, I didn't know what I wanted at the beginning, but I needed somewhere to do permanent jewellery for my customers, and they had space, and we were both looking at the same time, and it just fell into place really lovely, and I was over the moon. And I started paying rent from February, so it's now March 26th. Is it March 26th? Yes, it is. Yes. So I started paying rent from them from February 25. I spent a month decorating because there was a lot to do, and I spent £600 in the first month decorating, buying furniture, and then a few months later I did more decorating and got some really, really pretty signs. So in total I spent £700 on my studio, and I was told when I first took the lease on, I could be there till May 26th. So they had an 18-month break clause as a minimum, and I kind of thought, well, do you know what, investing that money for 18 months, that's absolutely fine for me. My business, well, I was prepared to do that. And it's a bit of a risk whenever you're starting a new business, isn't it? You don't know if you're going to succeed. I was the first person in York to do permanent jewellery, so I felt good about it. I felt like there's no one else doing it. You have to travel to Leeds if you want permanent jewellery. So I kind of felt in a really good position, and I spent the welder, my setup costs were over £3,000 with the welder and setting up my studio. But like I say, I was the only one in York doing it, and I was like, yeah, let's just see what happens. And so we'll fast forward now to November. That's when the first of the problems started. I should say though, my business has been a really good success. I think I've had over 200, I can't remember exactly, but 200 customers, permanent jewellery customers who've been into my studio, who I've welded jewellery to, and it's been a real success. It surprised me, and I've had really good positive feedback from people, and making people have a lovely experience when they're in York, and it's been great. I've absolutely loved doing it. Now, things haven't always been smooth sailing, I must admit. I'm glossing over quite a lot of stuff, what's happened. I could probably write a book actually on what has gone on in the 12 months with them. I really could. So I'm trying to like condense it and just keep focused on the important bits. So we'll fast forward now to the end of November, and we have to be in a group chat, and I'll get to that later. But basically we're all in a group chat, it's on Facebook, and that's how the landlord communicates with us all. And one of the tenants noticed at the end of November that there was some water on the downstairs ground floor. And we were like, oh, I wasn't in this day, thankfully. I didn't have to sort any of it out. But, you know, it soon became apparent that there's an upstairs leak. And there was a leak on the first floor toilet, and it was leaking down through the ceiling onto the ground floor, just next to where my studio was. And this was the Monday, and bless them, the people who were in the Monday had a tough time, because the landlord is on the Facebook group chat saying, turn this off, turn that off, you need to do this, you need to do that. Now, this is a 3-story shop, used to be a Costa coffee shop, and you know, do we know how to turn off this tap, that tap, the other tap? Do we know how to stop this leak from happening? No, you know, none of us are plumbers, none of us can do this. And it was all done on Facebook group chat, and you know, the landlord never came over to sort it out herself. And then, you know, Tuesday, obviously, one of my lovely studio friends, Angie, she's there trying to sort this out, putting little trays underneath where the leak is happening, but it was filling up too quick. And obviously she was there till 10 o'clock at night one night trying to sort this out, and when the landlord was just completely, still at this point, not ringing a plumber eventually did get rang 48 hours after this leak was noted. So you can imagine the state of the place. It's come through the ceilings, it's come through the light fittings, it was on the floor, and a massive big puddle. At this point, I had customers booked in on the Thursday, and I was like, oh my God, I cannot bring my customers. And it's like the end of November, we are just going into December, so you know, we're going into busy retail time. The Christmas market is on. I'm literally 30-second walk from the Christmas market, so you can imagine. So I'm realising, oh, I can't bring my customers here, I'm going to have to relocate, and I'm putting on the group chat, I've got some customers on Thursday, I'm going to have to take them somewhere else. And bearing in mind all my, you know, my not my welder, but and my stock, but some of my equipment is there, and I need it to do the job really. So the landlord's like, well, you'll have to go down next door. We've got some room next door, because she took on that lease as well at the same time. So I went up and had a look. It was such a mess. There was big concrete stairs, inches thick of dust, inches thick. I mean, I cleaned this building a year ago at the beginning. I cleaned it, full 3 stories. It was dust up to here without a dust mask. I probably lost months of my life cleaning this building for them. And I don't think it had been cleaned since. There was dust inches thick. I went upstairs where she expected me to set up, and there were big gouges out of a bare concrete floor. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, this is not. You can just imagine somebody going to turn their ankle and put a claim in. It was that bad that I'm not putting my customers through that. You know, I've built up this business from scratch. You know, I've got good reviews, and I'm not going to risk anything like that in my name. So I was like, this is not suitable. I am not taking my customers there. And she also has a shop on Stonegate, and I said, I'll take them to the shop. I'll set up at the back. I know there's lots of space in the shop at the back. It's pretty empty. They've not been able to fill it with artists. So I knew there'd be space for me at the back of the shop. And the shop is really, really pretty. They've done a really, really, really good job with the shop. It looks lovely. So I ended up relocating my customers to there temporarily. She wasn't happy about it that I was in the shop, but I didn't really give her much choice. I was like, I'm not risking my business and everything I've built up. I am paying you rent, and you know, it was magnified because of a failure to act quick enough. Even though it kind of like a few weeks later, she was trying to blame the studio tenants for the leak and not dealing with it properly. But there's a limit to what you can do in a self-managed studio, and I don't think anyone can fix a toilet if you're in a self-managed studio, unless you're a plumber, obviously. So that was obviously a bit of a challenge, and unfortunately this carried on for 3 weeks. Eventually the plumber came, the power got turned off, the water got turned off, and then I had to rearrange then. My customers, like, I didn't know how long this was going to go on for. So I might have had some more customers on the Saturday that week, and I was like, right, they're going to have to go to the shop. So I was having to email customers saying, we've got a change of venue, this is your new venue. Some customers were getting back to me, some customers were emailing me back, so I didn't know if they got the message. So that was really, really, really stressful. I was having to go to my studio, put poster up on my door saying, if you've got an appointment with me, it's now in this place. And obviously getting all my gear from the studio to the shop and from home to the shop. Oh, it was just a nightmare. And a lack of communication as well from the landlord about when this was going to be fixed, when I was going to be back in the studio. And then we were letting the ceiling dry out. So we had to let the ceiling dry out. Now it's December. This is a building with no heating, I should point out. So how can you dry out a building when you've actually got no heating on? And the heating wasn't put on. There is heating, but it wasn't put on. 3 weeks, this went on for 3 weeks. I had to get my customers, which were already booked, relocate them up to the shop, message them beforehand. I had to take off my appointments. I couldn't promote any December work at all. I'd spent hours doing an Instagram reel because I was literally just a street away from the Christmas markets. My plan was to go into the studio all of December. I was going to work from there. I was going to do all my online orders from there. And I had this promotion going on Instagram telling people that, yeah, I had last minute availability. If you were coming to the Christmas market, you could also have permanent jewellery with me, literally two seconds away. I couldn't do any of that. I had to take off all my bookings for December. I just found it too stressful dealing with her and having to take people to the shop, because I knew she wasn't happy with me doing it, and I just couldn't deal. I couldn't deal with it. So eventually, after 3 weeks, one of the other girls pipes up saying, this is ridiculous. The communication has been shocking. I have had to cancel the Christmas market because I can't get in to make stock. Can you tell me what's going on? And eventually, after 3 weeks, all of a sudden, one afternoon, we were told, the lights are working, we can get back into the studio. So again, because I wasn't told beforehand, I wasn't able to put any appointments on. I wasn't able to plan anything. So I lost a good few £100 in December because of this, definitely. And then the failure to just manage it properly and effectively, and just to not put the heating on. Put the heating on, it's going to dry the place out, and so yeah, I lost a lot of money. And I should point out as well, while in the middle of all this, there were no refunds discussed. We weren't offered any refunds to get our money back. We'd all paid money. 5 tenants on the ground floor, 5 of us. We'd all paid our rent for that month. None of us asked for any money back. We weren't even offered any refunds at all. And then the power was working, but not the overhead lights. And I was told on the group chat, on the Facebook group chat, that the studio is fully working. We can go back in. And I was like, I couldn't believe, when you can't believe your eyes. And I was like, does she really believe that I can go in? I can plug my welder in, but I've got no lights. I can't see what I'm doing. Now, it's already a dark building because they've covered 50% of the windows with this really horrible chipboard for some reason. And it looks awful anyway. But what it did do is actually reduced all the natural light by 50%. So it's already dark. I'm already battling with the bloody lights. And it's winter. It's January. I've had to get some emergency lights and put them above me when I'm in, so I can bloody see what I'm doing. And I was like, surely she can't mean that I can go in the dark and take my customers into a dark shop and weld. And I had to ask for clarification. I said, do you really think I'm going to do this in the dark? Is that what you're suggesting? And she was actually suggesting that my studio was workable in the dark. I didn't have any lights. So you can see the kind of person I've been dealing with. This is just a fraction of what's happened over the 12 months. So that was the water leak issue done. That takes us to probably the mid-December. And anyway, I'm just glad to be back in. Thank God I'm back in. I opened up some appointments. I've got literally 1 week before Christmas. The Christmas markets are almost packing up. I've lost money, but I'm back in. And I'm not having to rearrange people to go to the shop. The existing bookings what I had, that made my life just easier. And I managed to pick up a couple of events as well from a lady next door, Nikki, who does the York Fashion Week. I did some events for her, which was great. So I managed to have some little Christmas events to kind of try and make up some money that I'd lost. And then on the 18th of December, I actually get an email from the landlord, basically saying that she's turning the downstairs of where I was renting into a shop. She can actually make more money that way. So everybody on the ground floor, there were 5 of us all together, we have to vacate, and she's starting the work after Christmas. Now, I'd signed a lease, and I'm supposed to be given a month's notice, and I'm like, well, at this point, on the 18th of December, I've sold gift vouchers for Christmas for people, and I've already got bookings for January. I had bookings up until the 17th of January, and this lady had booked in December. And I was like, I am not, I'm not doing this to my customers. It's not fair. And I pointed out to her that I have actually got, you're supposed to give me a month's notice, and I have got bookings, and I've got people who've actually bought gift vouchers to give to people next week for Christmas. They're going to have to be accommodated. Luckily, thankfully, she was like, oh, we can sort something out. And because I just didn't want to get, I built this up, and you don't want to get a bad review, and you don't want to let your customers down. I wasn't never going to let my customers down. I was never going to cancel any bookings. And when I think back now, how I did all that and not cancel any bookings was amazing, really. Anyway, I'm getting upset now. I don't want to get upset. So what happened then? So Christmas, I decided, the end of my eviction email, it did say at the bottom, have a lovely Christmas. And I was like, you're not going to ruin my Christmas, don't you worry about that. And I had a fantastic Christmas. The Christmas before, I had COVID for my 50th birthday, so everything was cancelled and it was disaster. So this year, we had a lovely time. We had a great Christmas. I had a great birthday. I re-celebrated my 50th birthday. And I woke up actually in Bamburgh Castle on my 50th birthday, which was really lovely, or 51st birthday, which was a really lovely treat. And I just thought, I am putting this problem, I'm dealing with it next year. I am not dealing with it now over Christmas. So I did have some customers. I managed to get my customers in on the 2nd of Jan. And I knew they would make my last couple of weeks pretty tricky as well, because that's the kind of people they are. And she wanted to decorate and plan for this shop, even though I had been paying up, and I said I'll pay to the 17th of January, and that gave her a month's notice from when I got the email. And so I went in on the 2nd. I did some gift voucher people, but I took off the appointments. I took off my appointments for January because I can't have customers coming into the studio when there's decorators there and everyone decorating around them, the smell of paints. That's not going to be a good look, is it? Anyway, and then the week after, as I tried to stick to Saturdays, I said to her, right, I'll just do Saturdays only. You do the painting in the week. Which I paid full for the studio, but I was only able to work Saturdays. I'm thinking of her more than me in this situation, bizarrely. And so she's in there decorating. I actually went in. I knew it would be left a tip. I knew it would be left at absolute state. I had to go in on the Friday night before my customers on the Saturday, and I'm so pleased I did, because it was absolute carnage. There was shit everywhere. It was just carnage. I had loads of wood. The grow wood, I don't know where this wood comes from, but literally I have been battling with this wood for 12 months. And there's loads of wood everywhere, and wood was just piled up against my studio, and I had to just spend 2 hours tidying the studio, the whole of the ground floor, getting rid of all the evidence that it was getting painted, and making it nice for my customers on that first Saturday the 9th. Interestingly, when I went in, the heating was on full blast. And I was like, there is some heating then. And it turns out there'd been another water leak. When they turned the water back on, it had leaked again. But she turned the heating on this time to dry it out for herself, so she could get the shop ready. So that was an interesting point, I thought, as well. So then, I had to go in the Friday before. My last day was the 17th of January. I had to just go in and double check that it wasn't a tip. And tidy it up for my customers, and then my husband came in, and we took out the pod. We had a little chippy tea, and we went to Drake's and had a little chippy tea, and then we took it all away, and I did feel really sad. I'm not gonna lie, I did feel sad, but it is what it is. And then when I got the email in December, I was like, do you know what? I was sad for about 12 hours, and I was like, I woke up the day after and I thought, do you know what? This is probably a really good thing. I have to look at this positively, because I'm going to see it as a blessing. Because like after 12 hours, I just felt so much lighter. I was like, do you know what? I can get this woman out of my life. I can get this organisation out of my life. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be a good thing. So although initially I was sad, the relief, and like I said, the peace I have felt since I've come away from the studio and getting off that horrible group chat and that toxic group chat has been absolutely amazing. I'm just like, yeah, I'm living my best life now. I'm not having to deal with them and they're all their drama, because if anything, they just create drama wherever they go. And you don't have to go far to meet other people who've had equally awful experiences and really bad experiences with them. So I'm not alone. And I just feel like, yeah, let's get out. And luckily, it has got a good story. There's a good ending to this. I managed to find a new location for my business. So I went to a tattoo studio actually, and I had a walk around York, and I thought, where would be nice for my customers to come? And obviously I headed towards the Shambles, and I was like, you know what, the Shambles is the most famous street in York, isn't it? Everybody knows the Shambles. Wouldn't it be great if I could bring my customers to the Shambles? And I saw a tattoo studio, and I thought, you know what, that could work. Permanent jewellery, piercing, tattoos. And I went in and I just made some inquiries, and I spoke to the boss, Josh. I met him up a couple of times. Couldn't have been any more different to my experience with them. Really professional and a good businessman, and he's like, yeah, I like permanent jewellery. He had actually a bracelet himself, so he knew all about it, and he was like, yeah, let's see what we can do. And I've been there now I think I've done 4 weeks, so it's very early days, but I've got a lovely room. What I'll do is I'll put a little photograph of my setup. I'm on the first floor, and I've got these beautiful beams behind me, like 100-year-old house. It's a little bit wonky, it's so cute, and it's just, yeah, I'm just over the moon that I've been able to, like, because I was, to have your business premises taken away a week before Christmas with no notice and no time to plan anything, the fact that I've been able to like find somewhere suitable, I'm happy with. And I've actually got heating, and I've actually got hot water, so it is definitely an upgrade for me. I'm over the moon, and yeah, I can put this like experience to bed and live and learn from it. And you know what, when I look back, right at the very beginning, they were awkward, but right at the very beginning, like some of the rules that they had in place were just ridiculous. Like I wasn't even allowed to put my poster on the window. So you can imagine, I've got a lovely shop front, massive, and I'm in there. I've done a lovely studio. I've spent a lot of money doing a studio, but my customers can't find me. I'm not allowed to put my business name on a poster. Nobody was, but why not? There were 20 businesses at one point in that building. Why not put our names on by the door? Say the businesses in this building are, and we all have a little brick. And then the blank spaces rent this space. It would have been so easy to do, but I wasn't allowed to put my business name on the building. So every time I had a customer, I had to play fish. I had to go out onto the street and look for people. I wonder if they're for me. And look for 4 girls walking down the street together on the phone, looking a bit lost. I'd be like, oh, they're my customers. I mean, that's ridiculous. How unprofessional is it? How unprofessional. The whole thing has just been unprofessional from beginning to end. Another rule I had to abide by. I wasn't allowed my customers weren't allowed in the communal area. So there's a communal area for everybody else, but not my customers. My customers weren't allowed to sit in the communal area for whatever reason. This communal area was empty 99.9% of the time. It was only my customers, whoever sat there. But I didn't listen to them. I had kids lined up there eating a Maccadees one day, and I had a lady breastfeeding a baby on the other. I thought, you're not telling me what to do. I'm paying you rent. It's a communal area, but they wanted me to keep my customers in my little space. And if any extra customers came, you know, they couldn't hang around. They couldn't watch. They weren't allowed to hang around, and we weren't allowed to make it a nice environment for them, which I refused to do. I didn't listen to, but that's the kind of people I was dealing with. So I'm sure you'll appreciate it. It's been a challenge, but that's what my YouTube channel, I wanted my YouTube channel to be honest, account of what it's like running your business and what it's like out there. And there's some sharks out there, definitely, and it's not all plain sailing. And I'm just really happy that I didn't have to pack it in, because I did think, I was really tired. December, my online shop's crazy. I did think for about 5 minutes, is this a sign for me to just stop doing it? And I was like, no, you're just tired. You just need a break. And Christmas gave me that time to reset and think, no, I'm actually not ready to give it up. And if I do want to stop doing permanent jewellery, I want it to be my decision, not because of someone else, you know, not because of somebody else's actions. So here I am. I'm still here. I have been quiet on YouTube, obviously, because I've had lots to sort out, but I am pleased to report the ducks are back in a row, and I am now at Unique Inc. 39A the Shambles, a gorgeous, you know, building. I don't know how old it is, but it's 100 years old, and it's very wonky, and it's just stunning. It's really cute, and the team are lovely. Josh and the other artists have been so welcoming, and I'm just really thankful that I've got some premises again. So thanks, Josh, for having me. And yeah, if you want to know the name, I've not named any names, you might have noticed, but if you want to know the name and you want to avoid this business, because I would recommend, they've wasted a lot of my money and they've wasted a lot of my time. If you do want to know the name, if you are in York and you're thinking about renting a creative studio, please get in touch and I will gladly tell you the ones who to avoid. Anyway, it's a long video, I know it is, and I'm not going to do any editing. All the mistakes are going to stay in. I can't be bothered editing, you know me. And I hope you've had a less eventful start to 2026, and I'm hoping now things are settled down, I'm hoping that I can just get back into the swing of things and just enjoy, you know, the next few months of growing my business. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.